Hello, my name is Lamar Sims, and today I'll be discussing my world wonder, the Colosseum. Could you imagine bones cracking, the weeping of young ones in your ear, the crowd roaring in immense? Could you imagine blood being splattered onto your face? If you picture the Colosseum, you are correct. Italy is known for creating some of the most world-renowned buildings. These buildings can compare to such mythical creatures such as giants or cyclops. I know so much about Italy and the Colosseum because I have done much research on evidence-based articles on the Colosseum in Italy. I've also learned plenty from past art teachers teaching about the works and arts of the Colosseum in Italy. When we talk about the Colosseum, we have to talk about how it was built, the purposes of the Colosseum, and the everlasting effects the Colosseum has had on the world as a whole. To begin, we'll be discussing how the Colosseum was built. The Colosseum is consisted of three materials: brick, limestone, and concrete. Although concrete is used in today's world, although limestone is used in today's world, the usage of it has been cut by over 50%. We tend to use brick and concrete in our every now city buildings. But when we talk about how this structure was built, we have to talk about the person who put all this together. None other than Emperor Vespasian. Emperor Vespasian was the current ruler of Rome, Italy. He constructed over 60,000 slaves, put the hard blood, sweat, and tears for 8 years just to build this immense structure. Some losing a family, loved ones, and limbs. Now that we've just talked about how it was built, we will now discuss the purposes of the Colosseum. Although the purposes of the Colosseum are very controversial, there are a few purposes that are very key. One of the purposes being the tourist attraction. It was originally meant for the Roman people, however, it attracted people from all across the world. One of the other very important purposes of the Colosseum is the gladiatorial events. This consisted of moxie battles, gladiatorial boxing, and fighting. These gladiatorial events attracted millions of people and these attracted millions of people all over the world. Now that we just talked about the purpose, we now begin talking about the positive and negative everlasting effects. One of the everlasting effects is it attracted people to mimic the Colosseum, building amphitheaters all over the world. It is known that since the Colosseum attracted so many tourists that it was hard for them to mimic and copy the exact idea. So later on, the negative effects included the Colosseum having a total death rate of 400,000 people. This sparked a very impactful and difficult problem within Rome, Italy, and across the world. They felt they needed new means of entertainment. So all these amphitheaters that are being built later were replaced by theaters of such. In conclusion, my purpose of this speech was to inform you and enlighten you about the history of how the Colosseum was built, the purpose of the Colosseum, and the everlasting effects. It's not knowing what the Colosseum is, but how the Colosseum has impacted the world.